The drama surrounding Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns quarterback competition has taken a sharp and controversial turn, one that has fans questioning not only the direction of this team, but also the fairness of the so-called evaluation process. What was supposed to be a preseason designed to test talent, to let young players prove themselves and earn their place, instead turned into a showcase of favoritism and questionable decision-making. And at the center of it all stands Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback many believed would finally get his chance to prove his worth, only to find himself once again snubbed, sidelined, and left with nothing but frustration. From the very beginning, the tone of this final preseason game felt unbalanced. Joe Flacco, the seasoned veteran, came out firing. His throws were crisp, his decisions sharp, and his experience radiated through each snap. Completing passes at a 90% clip, he reminded everyone that while his best years may be behind him, his poise and precision can still command an offense. No one questioned why he was given the opening stage. After all, experience has its place, and Flacco has earned the respect of the league. But once Flacco was pulled, the stage was supposed to shift toward competition. It was supposed to become the proving ground for the future. Instead, what unfolded told a very different story. Dillon Gabriel was given the kind of leash every young quarterback dreams about. At first, he looked like he was going to seize the moment. His passes came out quick, the offense stayed alive, and there was an energy building in the huddle. Momentum was on his side. But that confidence began to unravel in real time. With a clean pocket and options available, Gabriel panicked. He abandoned protection that most quarterbacks would die for, scrambled unnecessarily, and forced a throw that had no business being released. It was a poor, low-percentage ball that could have easily been intercepted, killing what should have been a routine touchdown drive. Moments later came the fumble, a crushing mistake that stripped away what could have been a surefire scoring opportunity. And just when it seemed like the disaster might end there, Gabriel nearly handed the Rams an interception, saved only by the desperate hands of his receiver. The defense adjusted, the rhythm broke, and the momentum died. Yet, despite mistake after mistake, Kevin Stefanski kept Gabriel on the field, allowing him to shake off the errors, reset, and continue piling up reps. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders watched from the sideline, helmet on, eyes focused, but without opportunity. While Gabriel racked up 19 snaps, Sanders was given just 6. 6 plays to define his entire preseason evaluation. 6 plays behind a patchwork line of third stringers who couldn't hold a pocket for more than 2 seconds. 6 plays where every collapse felt like a setup, a staged environment designed to prove nothing except that Sanders wasn't ready. And after a single sack, he was yanked, pulled off the field, and replaced by Tyler Huntley, as though his chance was nothing more than an afterthought. The imbalance was glaring. Preseason is supposed to be about evaluation, about equal opportunity. But here, the script seemed written long before kickoff. Gabriel could fumble, miss open receivers, and even risk interceptions without losing his chance. Flacco, by virtue of his resume, would always be afforded respect. Sanders, on the other hand, had to be perfect. Not just good, not just solid, but flawless in limited, unfair conditions. And that standard, one so impossibly high, was never going to be met when he wasn't given the time or support to succeed. One play in particular symbolized the bias perfectly. Gabriel dropped back with everything working in his favor. A clean pocket, a wide receiver breaking open downfield, no pressure in sight. It should have been one of the easiest completions of his career. Instead, the ball sailed out of bounds, a wild miss with no excuse. His smaller frame once again limited. His vision, his mechanics broke down, and the moment was wasted. But rather than being held accountable, rather than being given the hook, Gabriel was allowed to reset and continue playing until he finally notched a touchdown. On paper, his stat line looked respectable. 13 completions on 19 attempts. A figure that casual fans and box score readers would applaud. But peel back the layers and the flaws are impossible to ignore. Those completions were padded by Stefanski's patience, by an extended leash that Sanders never received. And so the question hangs in the air. How different might this game have looked if Shedeur Sanders had been given the same opportunity? Could he have settled into a rhythm, adjusted after early pressure, and showcased the calm precision that made him such a promising young talent? Or would the narrative still have been written against him, no matter what he produced? The troubling part is that this isn't just about one game. This is a pattern. Gabriel's flaws are not new. His tendency to panic in the pocket, to abandon structure, to let mechanics break down at the worst times, these are issues we saw in earlier preseason matchups as well. Remember the interception that went straight into enemy hands, gifting the opposition an easy touchdown? That was Gabriel. And yet, his mistakes have consistently been glossed over, excused, and pushed aside in favor of more reps. Sanders has never been given that same luxury. When Sanders finally did take the field, he was not surrounded by the first-team offense. He wasn't even working with the second unit. Instead, he was handed a group of third-string backups, players fighting just to make the roster, players who couldn't provide the protection or timing needed for a young quarterback to truly display his skills. One collapse after another left him scrambling, and when the inevitable sack came, Stefanski wasted no time in pulling him off the field. It wasn't just a coaching decision, it was a message. A message that Sanders was never really being considered as a contender. The outcome of the game only reinforced that narrative. The Browns had a chance to finish the preseason undefeated, a symbolic but meaningful achievement that could have boosted morale heading into the regular season. Instead, the Rams capitalized on the chaos, regained the lead, and sealed the victory. And one can't help but wonder, if Stefanski had put aside his bias and trusted Sanders with a real opportunity, could the Browns have pulled out the win? Could Sanders have been the difference maker? We'll never know because he was never given the chance. This is what makes the situation so frustrating for fans. It's not just about stats or highlights. It's about fairness. Preseason is supposed to be a laboratory, a place to test young talent, to see what they can do when given the stage. Sanders was denied that stage, and now the narrative being spun paints him as unready, as though his lack of production was proof of something deeper, when in reality, the truth is much simpler. He was never given a fair shot. The story of this preseason quarterback battle is not one of open competition. It's a story of a coach with a predetermined plan, one who trusted veterans, excused the mistakes of some, and ignored the potential of others. Joe Flacco was always going to be treated with respect. Dillon Gabriel was always going to be granted patience. Shedeur Sanders was always going to be on the outside looking in, and so we arrive at the heart of the matter: instant regret. Kevin Stefanski may believe he's making the right decision by protecting his veterans and favoring Gabriel, but by refusing to let Sanders show his potential, he may have cost the Browns more than just a preseason game. He may have cost them clarity about their future. He may have alienated a young quarterback hungry to prove himself, and he may have planted seeds of doubt within a fan base that expected transparency, fairness, and hope. Because now, instead of entering the regular season with excitement about the depth of their quarterback room, Browns fans are left with frustration. They're left wondering if the best option on their roster was wasted. They're left questioning the motives of their coach. And most importantly, they're left with the uneasy sense that opportunity was not lost because of talent, but because of bias. The drama surrounding Kevin Stefanski's handling of Shedeur Sanders will not disappear quietly. It will linger through the regular season, resurfacing with every misfire from Gabriel, with every mistake that cost the Browns momentum. Each time Gabriel panics in the pocket or sails a throw out of bounds, fans will ask the same question. What if Sanders had been given a fair chance? And if the Browns stumble, if wins slip away, the regret will only grow louder. This preseason should have been about answers. Instead, it left nothing but questions. So now we turn it to you. Do you believe Kevin Stefanski has been unfair in the way he's handled Shedeur Sanders? Was this truly about competition, or was it always scripted from the start? Should Gabriel's repeated mistakes have cost him reps, giving Sanders a genuine opportunity to prove himself? And perhaps most importantly, had Sanders been given equal opportunity, could the Browns have walked away from preseason undefeated with not just momentum, but clarity for the future?